Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you and I welcome you all to the newspaper analysis discussion. Guys, today is 14th of July and in today's newspaper we'll take up all the articles along with the background, and I would also like to tell you that you can just a minute, I think there's some issue. Okay guys, so I hope that now the video is clear. There was some issue that came, there was some kind of a technical issue. So guys, let's start, and in the video we will be taking up entire analysis of Hindu newspaper. You can also download the explainer notes of this particular session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram channel is given in the description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, let's see the overview of newspaper. So guys, here there is this article that has come. The article reads that with Prime Minister flying to Paris, India approves plan to buy 26 Rafale M jets. So basically guys, the Prime Minister of India is going to France, where the defense deals and many of the strategic discussions are on the cards. Now guys, in this particular direction, that recently the DAC, okay, that is the Defense Acquisition Council, has approved the decision. Defense Acquisition Council has approved the decision to procure these 26 Rafale jets. And one more thing guys is that as the Prime Minister is visiting France, now many of the key takeaways in the same line are going to come. Okay, so we will be discussing this all the particular key takeaways as the discussion between the France and India will be starting up. So I think by tomorrow these particular things, these details will come. So that is guys about it. And now moving to the next, then Yamuna makes further ingress in Delhi. Okay, so guys, then the entire newspaper in the regional section is filled with the water logging and flooding kind of situation in the Delhi that has been there. Then we have these advertisements and all such kind of things. So guys, moving on, directly we will be reaching to the editorial page, because before the editorial page, there is no important article. All these advertisements, tenders, etc., such kind of things have been given. Then the spotlight article talking about the Kavod Yatra. Fine. Then moving on, guys, we have the Metro Plus page, 9 shades of life. Okay, doesn't contains a substance for the UPSC examination. Now, guys, here we come, an unacceptable verdict in the constitutional sense. So we'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Okay. Uh, then, guys, here work in progress. So basically, guys, we see this particular thing, that the GST Council meet has happened, and in this particular thing, basically the rate revisions, for example, 28% GST levy on the face value of the bets in online games, casinos, etc. Scientists need the oxygen of free speech. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Then further moving on, are regional parties in India facing a secession problem? Not important article, guys, for the examination. The article is not that much relevant. Then further moving on in this particular direction, text and the context page, the first GSI survey of the Siachin. Now now this particular article, guys, is talking about the Siachin glacier survey that was done in 1958. This is a sapphire jubilee. We'll see this particular article for the examination. Then in the text and the context page, okay, Mamannan, a mirror to the ideological bankruptcy of Dravidian politics. So basically, guys, this Mamannam movie the trailer has been released. So basically, it is talking about that all the plot premises of the movie are being discussed. It is a limelight article. Again, guys, for the examination, the article is not that much important for the examination. Fine. I hope that you have understood it. Then further moving on, European Parliament asks India to act promptly to end Manipur violence. Okay, so basically, guys, see this particular thing, that from the past nearly 2 months, the Manipur issue is going on, where the Metis. Okay, first of all, what happened? The Manipur High Court, Manipur High Court provided that the Metis should be given the scheduled tribe status. Now, because of that particular thing, the other tribal people in the Manipur has not liked this particular idea, because according to them, Metis are already politically, demographically, economically dominant. So this particular thing should not be given. And after that, between the Metis and the other tribal people, the crisis have started. Violence is going on. Now, the European Parliament has asked India to act promptly. Okay. Now, guys, basically this thing, first of all, shows basically, guys, in this particular capacity, the Ministry of External Affairs have said that it is a kind of a colonial mindset, that India is well versed to deal with the problems at its own. There is no need for the interference of the other countries in the domestic matters of India. Okay. However, again, guys, no need to go too much in detail in this particular thing. Then after that, we largely have the law and order issues, political articles that is going on. Ukraine war not a priority of G20 presidency, say India. So basically, guys, as we talk about the Russia-Ukraine war that is going on, West from a considerable long period of time is kind of expecting India, that India should take the position in the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, already in 2022, India had said this particular thing. Already in 2022, India has said this thing, that the war is not acceptable, but India has not criticized one party for the war. And in G20 presidency, there are other agendas that India is going to take. Ukraine war is not something around which the G20 will be held. Then further moving on in this particular direction, these political statements, etc. we have. Then, guys, India's third moon mission all set to be launched today. So Chandrayaan 3 will be launched today, which will be a moon mission, which will try to replicate what Chandrayaan 2 was not able to do in 2019, as the landing troubles came in Chandrayaan 2. Now again guys, I'm telling you one particular thing that basically you are not required to track the Chandrayaan 3 every day. Okay, today the rocket has docked, today this has happened, today this has happened. Once this flight will be made, over a period of time the findings will come. Okay, because in the month of August that will reach, and as the findings will come, that is something which you have to read for your UPSC examination day by day, that on which date the launch happened. All these things are not important. I hope that you are able to understand this particular thing. Then further moving on in this particular direction guys, 70,000 people stranded in Himachal Pradesh. Now here we have this article, proposed National Research Foundation will take this particular article for the examination. Then Thai leader Pita loses vote to become prime minister. Germany stresses economic security in strategy for China. Okay. Then guys, coming to the business page. Okay, one thing guys, again moving on in this particular direction, is that as we talk about the world's page, I have told you many times that every statement given by leader, every domestic development going on in the other country is not important for our examination. Two reasons: number one, you will not be able to remember that by the exam. Number two, these questions are not asked in UPSC. And number three, the developments related to Indian foreign policy or any such issue which will have implication on India's international interest or national interest, such foreign developments are important for examination. Such kind of things are not there in the exam, are not there in the exam here. Okay, then further moving on guys in this particular direction, moving on in this particular direction, uh, we have India's January-June trade with China declines amid slowdown. Okay, so basically guys, the imports from China, they have come down 0.9%. Okay, now first of all guys, in the from 2020 onwards, as part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, India has tried to moderate the trade imbalance between India and China that has been there, but the trade has increased and there is a lot of dependence on China. But now the imports have come down largely because of the slowdown that is going on. Okay, but again, are you required to track these numbers? Okay, fine. Are you required to track these particular numbers, month by month data, quarter by quarter data? Not needed. Then further moving on, after that, basically telcos oppose international SMS traffic redefinition. So basically guys, if you see the tech companies, okay, tech companies, social media, they often send many of the OTPs, verification messages to log in, two-step verification, all such kind of things. Now what has happened, the telecom companies, they have proposed that they will increase the tariff for the international SMS. Suppose you want to log in on your Gmail and there will be a SMS that will be sent on your mobile. Okay, now that these SMS trails are very long, so basically now more charges are being proposed by the telecom companies on these international SMS. Tech companies are opposing that. Okay, so this is a kind of a confrontation going on between the tech companies and the telecom companies. Earlier also guys, there was one issue. If you follow, if you have read the, seen the yesterday's newspaper analysis, we have tracked one issue where the TRAI has also asked that whether we can impose that the tech companies such as WhatsApp, they will also require the license if they are giving the telecall services. You know that on WhatsApp, call, video call can be made. So should we impose a license on such kind of things? Telecom companies had said that yes, on them also such kind of licensing regime should be imposed, because telecom companies have to take license, they have to pay a lot of fees and all such kind of things. So this is guys all that has happened. Then guys, we have the sports page. Okay, and after that, in the last, we have this science page. India's diabetes epidemic is making its widespread TB problem worse. We'll take this particular article. So guys, this is the overview of entire newspaper, and as we have seen overview, you might have understood that all the articles are not to be read in detail. Some articles will just see in headlines, some articles are there in which we will go in much more detail, some articles are just overview that you have to take. So this is important, because if you don't learn the art to understand which articles are to be read, not to be read, you will be wasting a lot of time in your newspaper completion. Now taking up the relevant articles one by one in detail. So every class we start with the GS quotation that could be used in your exam. So today we'll take the quotation from Peter F. Drucker, who says that the ultimate resource is economic development. the ultimate resource in economic development is people. It is people, not capital or raw material, that develops an economy. So the most important resource is the human resource. Human capabilities, if it will be enhanced, then it will helping in the developing an economy. And how the human resource is to be developed? Human resource can be developed by skill development, by giving them proper education, by ensuring their health. And guys, when we talk about India, according to the UNFPA 2020 to 2040 is the golden window for India. Why? Because during this particular time, India will have the highest demographic dividend. India will receive the highest demographic dividend. Demographic dividend means dividend or the advantage that comes because of the favorable population. We have the young population, and the young population or these people are the one which are the raw material to develop an economy. Now the time has come that we should invest in this human resource. We should make them skilled, we should make them healthy, we should make them educated. So you can use this particular idea very comprehensively in GS paper number 3 as well as 2. So that is about it. And now let's take the first article for today. Taking up the first article for today. India's diabetes epidemic is making its widespread TB problem worse. So we will see this particular article, guys, with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to health. Okay, now see this particular thing, guys, that as we talk about the diabetes. Okay, now India has a huge burden of diabetes. At the same time, TB also is posing a great burden on India. If we talk about the people suffering with the diabetes and TB, we have huge number. For example, here you can see that people suffering with diabetes mellitus, around 74.2 million people in India, they are living with the diabetes mellitus. And at the same time, nearly 2.6 million Indians, 26 lakh people, they are affected by TB every year. Okay, they are affected by the tuberculosis every year. Now the people who have both of these diseases, the TB as well as the diabetes mellitus, their conditions become even more badly aggravated. Now see this particular thing, that when we talk about the diabetes mellitus, it compromises the immunity. It becomes very much difficult to heal your wound, or if there are other health conditions with which you are suffering, those conditions also could not be healed because the diabetes suppresses the immune functions. Now guys, the people who have the diabetes and TB both at the same time, these people will see a very different and strange type of TB symptoms. Their radiological finding, their pathological finding, their reports, their many of the body vitals, they will be different. Their treatment methodology has to be different. They cannot be, see, the normal treatment that is being given into the case of TB, that treatment cannot be given when a person has the TB and diabetes both. Fine, the final outcomes, prognosis, everything becomes different. And when we talk about, guys, in the context of India, the point is that the prevalence of people with the TB and having the diabetes mellitus, their prevalence, their number stands at 25.3%. So people having TB, they also have the diabetes. This is a very deadly combination which is putting a lot of pressure on the health of the people. Now guys, it has also been found that the people who have TB and diabetes both at the same time, they develop certain cavities, some lesions. Okay, so lesions are something like this. Lesions in their lungs, which impacts the lung capacity. Their lung is not functional at the optimum capacity, and because of that, they also then develop the respiratory problems. So this is a deadly cocktail that has been made. And guys, it has also been provided that that the lung treatment, lung functioning is impacted. And further, it has also been found this particular thing, that which type of people are the one who has the highest prevalence that they can be infected with the TB or both. So the people with the low body mass indices, okay, that people with the low body mass indices, they are the one, fine, where there will be the TB treatment might not be good, unfavorable outcomes might come in the people with the low body mass index. So if now how to ensure that we have less number with the low body mass index people, you need to improve the nutritional status of the people, and in this particular capacity government need to provide the targeted delivery of the nutritional food. Even under the National Food Security Act, we only provide the cereals, rather than the cereal protein fat component is to be provided. Okay, so if we improve the nutritional status of the people, people's body mass index could be improved, and then even the TB treatment could be improved. So a direct link has been made here. Then guys, when we talk about guys India needs to take some urgent action on the war footing. Immediate action is to be taken. Now what can be the way forward? What type of action India has to take? So one by one we will take basically what has to be done. So guys, this is a ready-made way forward if the question comes. For example, number one, yes, number one, there needs to be integrated patient-centric care. Okay, integrated means both the TB as well as the diabetes, their integrated treatment needs to be there, and it needs to be patient-centric, means customized treatment for every patient. Every patient's age, their sex, their body, their body mass index, other diseases that they are having, comorbidities, everything will be different. So one type of treatment will not be the optimum one. You need to have the differential treatments. Okay, fine. After that guys, the next thing that comes here is the next thing that come here is this guys, that we also need to turn to evidence. Okay, we need to go into the studies which have seen the correlation between the TB and diabetes, and on the basis of the solid evidence, on the basis of these particular studies, we need to come out with the optimum treatment methodologies. Okay, there also need to be there basically we also need to have the mechanisms to coordinate the DM and TB diagnosis together. If a person is having the diabetes, then TB diagnosis, or if a person is having TB, then the diabetes status of that particular person is to be checked. Some people are pre-diabetic. Okay, that also is to be checked. Okay, then there should be the patient education, patient support. Fine, many times, particularly in the TB, this concern comes that though government is providing the DOTS therapy, government is providing the DOTS therapy for the treatment of the TB, but most of them, they don't take the medicines for the time period for which they were meant. Okay, so the patient education, so that they complete their treatment regimen. Many of the patients will be from lower families, they will not be properly educated, so support needs to be given to them. And then the third thing that comes here is that guys, we also need to have a robust health system. If we don't have adequate number of hospital beds, if we don't have adequate medical facilities, medical infrastructure, then the support could not be given. Moreover, there is also the need that different stakeholders, for example the government, civil societies, NGOs, communities, they should all be brought together so that they can collectively help the people suffering with the TB and diabetes. Okay, and then also there is also need to have the robust policy guidance. Also government also needs to come out with the dedicated policy. For example guys, already there is the TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan that the government has taken up. TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan that government has taken. And now under this TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, we aim to make India TB free before 2025. Okay, but at the same time, additional resources, money, all such resources have to be mobilized. So these are all the things that have to be immediately taken up in order to ensure that this deadly combination of the TB and DM that has created, how it is to be solved. So that is all about this particular article guys. I hope that you have understood it. And one more thing is that guys, as these see, as this is a science article that had come, there is a lot of reference that where they are going into the core biology aspect. Fine, please don't go on such kind of a things for your exam point of view. Okay, because you are not preparing for medical exam, you are preparing for UPSC CSE exam. Now the first GSI survey, the first GSI survey of the Siachin. Okay, now basically guys, 2023 2023 is a sapphire 2023 is a uh, basically sapphire jubilee of the expedition to the Siachin. It is a sapphire jubilee. What is a sapphire jubilee? What is a sapphire jubilee? So when any event completes 65 years, when any event completes 65 years, we celebrate the sapphire jubilee to mark that particular event. So basically guys, what happened in 1958? In 1958, there were some of the geologists who reached the Siachin glacier, and they have marked the Siachin glaciers. They have basically marked the topography of the Siachin glaciers and all such kind of a things. And 2023 marks the 65 years of the expedition of the Siachin glacier by the Geological Survey of India. By the Geological Survey of India. So basically there are certain things in this article that we are going to see. Now first of all guys, the account, fine, the account of the the personal account of Mr. V.K. Raina, who was the top Indian geologist who carried this survey. His account has also been given that okay, we first went by train, then we went by bus, then we took a then we took a chartered flight. All such things, they are not required for our examination. Okay, so basically so basically guys, 65 years ago in 1958, Geological Survey of India sponsored the Indian geologists that they should go to the Siachin glacier and should do the survey of the Siachin glacier. Now guys, understand this particular thing. During 1958, the expedition was made. At that point of a time, Pakistan did not had a problem with the Indians going to the Siachin glacier. Okay, at that point of it, however, if we will see exactly this Siachin glacier, which was surveyed by the Indian geologists 1958, it will become the bone of contention between India and Pakistan. Pakistan will illegally try to capture the Siachin glacier in 1984, and we have taken up the Operation Meghdoot in 1984. So Operation Meghdoot of 1984 was to secure the Siachin glacier, and the Pakistanis attempt were thwarted by the India in 1984. So the same Siachin glacier was surveyed in 1958 by the Indian geologists. They studied the geology, geomorphology of the Siachin, as well as the places such as the Nubra Valley. Fine. Now, basically guys, why 1958 these all expeditions were taken up? Because 1958 was the international geophysical year, where many of the countries around the world, they have carried the expeditions for the geophysical surveys. Many countries organized the trips to Arctic, Antarctica, but India, because of the modest budget, fine, were not able to take those things. We went to Siachin. The article mentions that just 17,000 rupees budget was given to them. 17. Okay, now, so basically, GSI with its limited resources conducted the survey of Himalayan glacier systems. They've also surveyed Sikkim Himalayas, Kumaon Himalayas, Kashmir Himalayas. Okay, and one of the team that we are talking surveyed the Siachin region particularly. Now the article mentions that why at that point of a time Pakistan did not made so much of noise, why Pakistan did not had that much problem at that point of time. It is because of the fact, let's see. First of all, why Pakistan did not made a lot of noise? Because before that, Karachi ceasefire was signed in 1949. And in the Karachi ceasefire of 1949, the line of ceasefire was defined very clearly. And the Siachin glacier fell on the side of the India. So Pakistan was still respecting that probably. So therefore, Pakistan did not made much noise. Second reason, that these explorations were purely for the scientific purpose. These were the scientific visits, and because of that, the Pakistan saw them harmless to their interests. So this is also that the Pakistan did not made much noise. But 25 years later, that is around 1984, Pakistan tried to claim the Siachin glacier, and then the Operation Meghdoot got started, and India thwarted the Pakistan's attempt to capture it. So this is guys all the issues related to that. So as it is a sapphire jubilee, the article has been published. Okay, so now moving to the next article. Moving to the next article. Proposed NRF looks to tap CSR to address funding concerns. Okay. Now, basically, guys, if you remember, yesterday also we have seen this particular article. Today also there is one new dimension has got added in this article. We will add that. No need to take this entire article's note again. Just note down the two-line concept that has got added in your notes for yesterday. I will tell you. And if you have not seen yesterday's, then you please pay more attention here. So this article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3, research and development related initiatives in India. Research and development related initiatives in India. So basically, guys, when we talk about the research and development, yesterday elaborately we have discussed that particular thing, and the same thing has actually published in the today's newspaper also. I've told you that a country's expenditure on research and development needs to be at least in the range of 2% if they want to become economically and scientifically a well-established nation. Now, when we talk about India, guys, India's gross expenditure on research and development is in the range of 0.6 to 0.7%, 0.6 to 0.7%, which is very much less. Moreover, the private sector investment in research and development is even more less. And in order to coordinate the funding for research and development, in order to coordinate the policy for research and development, we are proposing a new body, that is NRF, National Research Foundation. National Research Foundation. Okay. Now, basically, when we talk about, guys, the NRF will also try to give a boost to the private sector contribution in research. Right now, we are spending around 1.2 lakh crore rupees in the research and development, which stands to be 0.67, 0.7% of our GDP. And out of this, only 36% is coming from the private sector, Okay, so we are spending around 0.6% in R&D. We need to spend at least around 2%. Fine, the average expenditure, global average expenditure on R&D is 1.8%. But India is very much below that. So basically, this NRF has been created, National Research Foundation, and government has envisaged that a 50,000 crore rupees will mobilized under NRF, which will further promote the research and development. And out of that, it is expected that 36,000 crore rupees will come from the private sector. 14,000 crore will be given by government, 36,000 crore will come from the private sector. But now there is this uncertainty coming that why private sector will give anyhow for the research and development. How private sector will be nudged that you give 36,000 crore rupees. So there is a proposal that what we might do, we might ensure that money comes in this particular thing, find what the corporates can give from their CSR, corporate social responsibility. Now, guys, understand this particular thing. We have Companies Act 2013, Companies Act 2013, and under the Companies Act 2013, there is section 135, which talks about the CSR, Okay, so average 2% of the profits by the company who are above a particular threshold, not all the company. The companies who are above a particular threshold, 2% of their profit they have to give as the CSR, corporate social responsibility. CSR means you are giving some money which will go for social development, for economic development, for poverty reduction. So 2% of the profits have to be given in CSR. Now companies can give the money under NRF, they can give the money under NRF and can claim it as their CSR expenditure. So by this particular way, more and more private expenditure will contribute in NRF, because by that their CSR obligation will be met. Now, the Department of Science and Technology, is going to be the administrative department for NRF. Okay, and there will also be the eminent researchers and professionals. Fine, here we will be taking up the activities of NRF. So this is all, and yesterday already we have discussed the NRF article a lot in the detail also. So that is all, guys, about it, and now we'll move to the next article. An unacceptable verdict in the constitutional sense. Okay, we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, social issues. GS paper number 2, social issues. Now, first of all, guys, what has happened recently? Allahabad High Court has given a judgment. That is Kiran Rawat versus State of UP. And in this particular judgment, now what was the incident? So there are the two people from the different religion. They were staying together without getting married, and there was the moral policing that was happening against these people. So basically they made a request in the Allahabad High Court, and they seeked the protection from police harassment, correct, protection from the police harassment that was happening with them, because they were from two different religions staying together, fine, without the marriage. There was this live-in relationship. Now Allahabad High Court has refused to give them the protection, and this goes against the idea of the constitutional morality. Now, what is the constitutional morality? Constitutional morality means that you have to understand the ideals of the constitution as well as the spirit of the constitution. The spirit of the constitution has to be absorbed in practice as well as in theory, both. That is the constitutional morality. Now understand this particular thing, that we have the fundamental rights, and these fundamental rights are given to every person of every religion, and there is also the fundamental right to there is a freedom of life and liberty, and it is your liberty to choose any person with whom you want to live. Even the live-in relationships have been recognized by the Supreme Court in the S. Khushbu judgment. So Allahabad High Court has went against all these judgments and has supported the idea of such moral policing. Fine. Now, see this particular thing, guys, that first, why the judgment of the Allahabad High Court is unacceptable. Number one, the court has got carried away by the notions of the conventional social morality rather than the constitutional principles. Now, conventional social morality means what, see, society have certain moral standards that they are following as per the part of traditions or many such kind of things. For example, in Indian society, it is deemed usually that two people of different opposite sex should not live together without getting married. Indian society even doesn't give much of acceptance to the relations between the people of different religion. So this is the conventional social morality. Society's morality is this. Court has also supported that and has forget to support the constitutional principles of individual liberty, personal liberty, that two grown-up individuals are free to live. It has also discarded many of the Supreme Court judgments have not given the sound basis. Okay, now this is something that has happened. Fine. Now, guys, the article is saying that the court has actually adopted the social orthodoxy, fine, and is doing a kind of a religious revivalism. Now, guys, here we have some of the judgments by the Supreme Court. And understand this particular thing, that as per the article 141 of the Indian Constitution, all the judgments by the Supreme Court will be binding on the High Court. And here, for example, we have one judgment, that is the S. Khushbu versus Kanaimal judgment of 2010. In this S. Khushbu judgment, Supreme Court very clearly provided that it is true. Mainstream view in our society is that sexual contact should take place only between marital partner. That yes, we accept that society believes that only married people should have any sexual contact. But if two people are grown up, if they are adult, they can live together. We cannot stop them. So live-in relationships have been given a kind of a legal validity in this as Khushbu judgment, and Allahabad High Court judgment is negating this judgment. Moreover, guys, many other reformatory justice have also been done by the Supreme Court. For example, in the Joseph Shine case, it decriminalized the adultery. So tomorrow a high court cannot come and say that okay, we will revive the adultery if it has been decriminalized by Supreme Court, because the judgment of Supreme Court will be binding on all the high court. It is provided in the article 141 of the Indian Constitution, but the judgment is going against that, and it is a case of judicial indiscipline. It is a case of the judicial indiscipline which the Supreme Court should take in account. So that is all, guys, about it. I hope that you have understood it. So that is all about it. And now moving to the next article. Scientists need the oxygen of free speech. Scientists need the oxygen of free speech. Okay. Now, moving on. Moving on, guys. So this article again, guys, we'll see with respect to this article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, scientific temperament, scientific temperament, and largely, guys, the article might not be having that much implication for the exam point of view, but you should see that so that you develop a particular kind of an understanding. First of all, what it is. First of all, what it is. First of all, what it is. Recently, what has happened? 500 scientists, academicians, students, they have expressed the concern against a recent decision by the IISc, Indian Institute of Science. So Indian Institute of Science happens to be one of the most reputed institution of India. Now what happened in the IISc, there was a discussion on the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act that was to be held. Discussion on UAPA was to be held by the student activist. IISc said that no, this discussion cannot happen because it is a social political discussion and IISc is a science institute. So this discussion should not happen. So basically many of the students and academicians, they have criticized it that it is not correct. Okay, it is important even for the scientific research institution to encourage the social and political discussion. It has been provided this particular thing that these institutions should not shut down these particular thing. There is a constitutional right even of the students to participate into the social discussion, political discussions. Okay, so that should not be shunted down. Okay, then guys, further moving on in this particular direction. So basically what has happened, it has been said that see, it is a very narrow and a shallow perspective that we desire, that we divide the that we have created this intellectual silos. For example, science one compartment, humanities one compartment, basically technology one compartment, or like this. This is a very kind of a narrow perspective to divide the intellectual discussions. Okay, when you are seeking the knowledge, it cannot be expected that you will only seek scientific knowledge and you will not seek any knowledge of humanities, social discourses, political discourses. Fine, in the IISER Mohali, what they have done, when such social political discussions were held, they invoked the central civil services conduct rules that prohibits the criticism of the government. But see, these central civil conduct rules apply on civil servants, not on the students, but they have invoked that. So India always had a rich and unique tradition of scientists who are coming forward and engaging in the social issues, political issues, and that has to be kept alive. Okay, so this is something that is one of the perspective which has been given in this particular article. Fine, I hope that you have understood it. Then moving to the next article, the main practice question for today. So question says, India's diabetes epidemic is making its widespread TB problem worse. In this context, discuss why is there need to build and scale up resilient and integrated health system in India. GS paper number 2. This question will be for the health section. So you can try attempting that. Okay. Guys, I hope that all your doubts are clear and a very good morning to all of you. Okay. I hope everything is clear. There is one doubt, ADJ Dawn. Polity में little आता है मुझको सर मैं क्या करूं. Dear, you will understand polity when you will be careful in the class, when you will have time not to comment on the girls as you usually do in the chat, when you will have really time to study. I hope you will understand. Fine, I've deleted one of your comment that you have made on a fellow student today. So stay away from these shallow things and I think then you'll be able to understand the concepts. Fine. However, if academically you think I can help you, you can reach out to me.